Let's start today's episode with a little riddle. What machine would be the best leader? The elevator, of course, because the elevator lifts people up, and that's what great leaders does as well. Okay, maybe not the perfect metaphor, but I'm gonna stick with it anyway. So, welcome to today's episode of Becoming Great. And you might have heard me talking in some other podcasts about this specific episode, and that's the reason why this exists. This is about finding a great leader for us. Finding a great leader for Great. And Great is a next generation charity project where we will build a commercial business, but we will donate 100% of the profits to charity because we believe that that's the most efficient way that we can help the world. And in this podcast, it's me, Eric Bergman, and my good friend Emil Eckwart. And we are learning together and at the same time telling the story about how great is becoming great. Today, we are talking about the role that we're looking for. If that's a CEO, CPO, COO, whatever you want to call it, we refer to it as a great leader. And this is a very senior role, someone who will build a team that today is 0 people. And in a few years, it will be 100. So it's going to be a big job for someone who is a tech lover and a great leader. And you could either listen to this episode or you can read more about this job at great.com/careers. And as a final little note that our producer Frederick thought that we should put in here was that in this episode, it sounds a little bit like I've just been dumped by a girlfriend. And I'm talking about her like the one who got away. So that's a little bit of the energy you will feel in this episode. Let's dive into it. Welcome.
All right. Good morning, Eric Bergman. I'm curious. How are you doing today?
I'm volatile today. I thought I was good, then I was really bad for a bit, and now I'm feeling a lot better again without going into explicit detail.
All right.
How are you, my friend?
Well, I've just seen the most incongruent check-in I ever seen anyone ever do. Since Eric is not going to say, I'm going to say it. Eric said, check-in, well, I'm doing absolutely fine today. And 3 seconds later, he's throwing up.
I did run to the bathroom, to be fair.
All over the screen. Everyone was grossed out.
Yeah. So this is transparency at its finest.
All right.
I'd like to just address that I'm actually feeling surprisingly well. So I'm not pushing myself to do this episode right now, and to me that's an important thing. If I would feel shitty, I would not do this, and I don't want to pretend that I'm feeling shitty and doing it anyway.
That's a good thing to clarify. And today, like you said in the introduction, this call is going to be focused on a role that is very important for Great. It's the role of the CEO, COO, CPO, whatever you want to call it, and we choose to call it a great leader. We're looking for a leader for this organization. And I know that this idea is something that you have very fresh in your mind, and that is something that have caused you quite a bit of pain recently. And why is that?
Yes. So to start in a bit of a different direction, I'll get back to your question. But I really like to build. I really like to find the leader of the team to build a product as the first person that we recruit for this. And the reason for that is that one of the mistakes that I did in the past with Katina was that I hired a lot of junior people, and then we grow, and I had to hire a manager. And the problem was that none of the junior people were senior enough to take that role, so I had to take someone from the outside. And that was tricky for some of the people who were already in the team to accept that they got a boss from the outside and not one of them got promoted. And at the same time, that manager got stuck with the team that they wouldn't have put together themselves. So it created a lot of friction. And we grow so rapidly, so this actually happened plenty of times during our organization's growth. And
what kind of time scale was that?
So we grew from 0 people to 80 people in the first 3 years, and that's when most of this happened. So we started with 10, and then we needed a manager for those guys, and then we were 30, and none of them were really good, senior enough to be the manager of everyone else. So we had a lot of this kind of generation shifts, and no manager had built their team, so there was never a perfect match there, and no team were ever super fond of their manager for the same reasons. So with Great, I would love to find the person who will be in charge of the product, who can start with being in charge of what strategy to apply, starting in that direction, and then building the team they want, so the team can feel connected to the leader and the leader can feel connected to the team. So I'd love to start in that direction instead of doing it the other way around this time, because I feel that in the long term, that's a far superior strategy. And yeah, I don't want to do the same mistakes all over again. And I think that this is the best way of doing it. But that leads to us now being in a bottleneck situation, because there is a lot of people who want to start working with Great and have applied for various tasks with us, but we don't want to hire someone before we have their leader in place that will then be in charge of actually hiring them. So we can't really progress with anything until we find that person. And to get back to your original question then, why this is in a bit of an emotional turmoil for me at the moment and a bit of chaos, is that I've had a friend that I really wanted for this role. I felt that he would be a perfect fit. We have all of this trust together. We have a lot of history. I know he's super skilled and talented. He's a great leader. He is this loving tech guy, which I would really want for this. And in my head, he's kind of said yes to this role 9 months ago, which was just only in my head. It never really happened. I just couldn't picture this not happening. And now this week, last week, he declined. And yeah, that took me by surprise in many ways. And I felt very sad about that. I'm really looking forward to us working together. And it also meant that I hadn't even considered any other options. So yeah, I got a bit depressed over that actually. It set me back a lot of, knowing that he didn't want to work in that environment that was so obvious to me, and B, we're now far behind the planned timeline because of this, because now we need to reset more or less and look for this leader somewhere else, which then leads to this episode that was like, what is this person? Who are we looking for? I believe that I will refer to this in various podcasts moving on, and people will be able to find this episode and hear us talking about what we believe is a great leader and who this job would be perfect for.
I understand that would be very frustrating for you, because I know how eager you are to start building our different kind of products. And maybe you are that leader we're looking for and you're checking in on this episode. And if you are, we are going in the end of this call to describe this role more in depth. But for now, Eric, would you summarize what is it we're looking for? What is this? What kind of role are we talking about? Just briefly, and we'll get back to it.
Yeah, so very briefly, we're looking for someone who will be in charge of building the entire product side of Great. Someone who will take ownership of that from a both strategic and operational perspective, and someone who will build the entire team behind it. So basically, someone who has been on a big journey before and either looking to do it themselves with a lot more meaning because we're giving away 100% of our profits. Or someone who maybe they have sold their own business and want to do this again, or they've been employed on a journey like that and want to go on it again. So it's basically someone who is the love child between Elon Musk and Bill Gates, a tech-loving guy who is a great leader with a high emotional intelligence and would love the idea of building a remote organization with a lot of transparency and honesty.
Mm. So, let's say you are that person. I bet you're wondering, kind of, why would I want to work at Great?
Yeah, that's probably a common thing. So what's in it for you? What's in it for the one listening to this? I think that's a good place of starting this. So we are looking to build something over a lifetime. So personally, I've been stuck in a quarterly financial cycle working in a company that's publicly listed. And that takes away a lot of the long-term strategic decisions. So for someone who wants to have the long-term approach, to just see what can we do in the furthest possible timeline, this is the perfect job. Who wants to have that possibility to think about that. Someone who wants to be part of a meaningful project where we will do something that I don't think that anyone has done before. And we're going more into what the product is and these kind of things in episode 4 of this podcast. So check out that if you want to know more about the product in general.
What is that episode called?
The 4 Pillars of Great or something like that. Yeah, episode 4. So we're actually describing the product more in depth. But we're trying to create, we are creating what I believe is a unique organization where we're actually checking in like we just did and very vulnerably talking about how we're feeling today. We are doing this remotely with a full flexibility and full freedom, and these are all things that we're experimenting with. So someone who have a lot of ideas of how they would want to build an organization in ways that they probably haven't done before would be a perfect match in this, because it will be I want to say playground, but it doesn't feel quite right, but an experimental playground of how to build an organization in a better way and in a new way than it's the norm out there. So yeah, there's plenty of different angles for this. So what do you see in this? I mean, what's the benefit of a leader to being us? What would a leader get from being the leader of the great team?
Well, for me, the thing that I like the most about the way this organization is structured is, well, the most important thing for me is the purpose. And the purpose in this case is that Great is donating all of its profits to charity. And I find that very meaningful, because that means that all the effort that I put in that is worth more than the salary I get will get donated to a very good cause. And to me, the difference between that and making money for a owner is huge. And another key thing for me, because I'm used to working from home, I'm used to have a very flexible life, is that I can choose when and where I work. The organization will be built remote. For me, those are key differences between Great and what I think is many other organizations. So if those things are important for you, I think this would be a interesting organization to be a leader in.
Yeah, I agree. So what do you think it would be like to be a leader of our team? How is our team different from the average company out there?
Well, an image I get in my head is that we're all kind of personal development junkies. We are 6 people right now, and we all just want to get better as humans. And I think it's easy to see that in how we are communicating with each other and how all of our meetings are being run. And I know there's a lot of people in this team that really value honesty. So the kind of feedback we can expect to give to each other is often very direct but still loving. And I feel like there's not that much hierarchy in this organization, which means that I can give very honest feedback to you, for example, even though you're my boss.
Oh, I'd like to tell a story on that one. So to give some perspective on this, what we're doing right now is we're learning a lot about public speaking and podcasting and these kind of things. And I went up on stage in, I don't know, October, November to tell a speech at a conference called Sigma here in Malta. And I didn't show this speech to anyone before, so I hadn't gotten any feedback from anyone. And I think it went really well. And I recorded this so I could get feedback from Emil and Spirit, who's also in the team. And we could do a workshop on this over Christmas when I was home in Sweden. And Emil and Spirit, they did an amazing job going through this speak that I did. It was 20 minutes long. I think we did 20 hours of workshops on this alone, with so many details and so many good things. And I learned a lot from it. But also very demanding. And at some point it was more honest than I could handle. Emil broke down a certain part of this speech and he was more like, I'm disgusted of you as a speaker right now. This is horrible, the energy that you're pursuing. And honestly, I agreed with him, but those words, they hit me like punches to the liver, like just straight up. And I just got quiet. And I could feel how my throat just tied together. And I couldn't really speak. And I was like, guys, I'm gonna need a minute. And I just started crying. And after that it was, wow, this was harsh. And we sat there talking about this afterwards, and I think that Emil went on a bit too harsh, but we're also in this to learn. So he dared to be this honest with me. I took this very vulnerable, but also I learned so much from it. And we sat there talking about this afterwards, and then I got the chance to give Emil feedback on how he did this, and that we are here to learn together. So he's learning to teach in the best possible way. And next time he will find an angle of doing this where it might be received as harshly. And I learned all of these valuable lessons that he had to share with me. And I believe that from those workshops that we did, I became a so much better public speaker than I was before. And it was a very, I think that's something that was managed to be created in that workshops, and something that we have in Great, at least to me, is a very harsh and at the same time loving environment. That we've found that kind of line where we can be drastically honest in a way that I've never been in any organization I've been before or faced anywhere before. And at the same time, it's the most loving environment that I've been in before, where we can hug and take care of each other. So I think this explains well to me what it would be like, what it is like to be a leader in this organization. That there is definitely not just a lot of yes-sayers that will pat you on the back whatever you do and just go with it. These are people that will confront you and challenge you, but they will help you to grow. They've helped me to grow so much. I can't imagine growing more as a person when leading any other organization.
That was a very strong moment for me as well, that workshop. And it's like you said, for me to even been able to be that honest and use those words, there had to be a very strong foundation of trust and care before that. That's what allowed me to be that honest in that moment, because my judgment was that something needed to be said. And to me, like, I was far from comfortable doing that. It was like an ego headshot. And to me, it felt like I risked our friendship doing that. And to be able to take that risk, there had to be a lot of trust and appreciation for that kind of direct honesty and feedback. And to me, that was a success for us, that we were able to play on that level.
Yeah, it's a big win. It's the harsh reality of great, but it was great.
So, except for ego headshots, how will this leader work with you? Because right now you are the figurehead, if that's a word, for this organization.
Yeah. So the reason that I don't want this role myself is that there's simply not enough me to do things. In Katina, I sat on all the chairs possible for a while, and I got burned out doing so. So if there's another lesson to be learned, that was that I should have hired an external CEO a lot earlier. Because there are a lot of people that are better suited to be CEOs and building teams than I am. So this role is going to be focused on those things and taking charge of that product, and my role will be more about strategically working with this person, setting these goals, doing these kind of things, also sharing a lot about our vision in podcasts and these kind of things, and building the foundation around this, reaching out and inspiring, and hopefully getting a lot of people to want to donate money and want to challenge these thoughts that there is out there. So that's the two kind of different roles in this. And they will be working very closely with me. They will be part in these kind of calls and maybe work closer with me even than you do. And I'm hoping that I have a lot to teach. I think that there is a lot from the story that I've been going through that I will be able to share, and a lot of the challenges that I've had. And I'm hoping that I'm sure that this person can teach me a lot of things. So in the same way as it were brutally honest between you and me in those kind of workshops, I think that we can have a brutally honest but still very growth-focused relationship, me and whoever this person is, he or she. And I would love it if this was a woman. I think that would be amazing. I'd love a female leader in this role. But it can be a man as well. We'll see. How else would they work together with me? Well, I've mentioned this a lot of times before, but my goal with this is to create something that will last a lifetime. And I'm 31, so hopefully I have another 100 years to live. Roughly. So it also includes a lot of friendship. Because to me, working together, the most essential thing in that is actually friendship. Sure, we could build something together, we could grow, we could do all these things. But if we don't work very well together as a team and friends, I think that we're missing out so much of the quality of life. That we will spend so much time together that unless we really care for each other, we're gonna miss out on a lot of quality of life. So I'm gonna offer a lot of friendship in this. I'm gonna offer a lot of support, both in business and everything relating to that, but hopefully even more in relationship to personal stuff, because I'm not gonna separate great in my life. This is just something that will be very closely tied together. And I believe that it will be the same for this person. So as well as great will be a big part of both our lives, we will be a big part of each other's lives. I believe that this is a very different approach to hiring a CEO. This is not someone who's going to come in and say, hey, the numbers are what's important. You're just going to deliver to the board of directors. This is going to be a CEO, CPO, COO, great leader, whatever you want to call it, who comes in and say, hey, the most important thing right now is that you love what you're doing and that you believe in this, and then we will make this happen together.
So what I hear you say now is that you're really looking for someone that is not gonna go in for 2 years and fix something. You're looking for someone that is looking for a long projects where they will be able to feel good and enjoy what they do for a long time.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you expect that kind of commitment?
I'm hoping for that kind of commitment. I don't think there is possible to ever expect anything from anyone in terms of long term, because there are so many things that can happen in life. But my goal with creating great has been one of my goals has been to create something that I will love for the rest of my life, and that the people who are a part of it will love for the rest of their lives. That doesn't necessarily mean that everyone is full-time committed all the time. But I believe that everyone will have somewhat of a relationship to great for the rest of their lives. If that's full-time for a while, then next to nothing for a while, and then full-time for a while, then I think that's a success. I'd like to see great as a football club, in a sense, where you might have a lifetime commitment to that club, but just because you love it, not because you have to. And sometimes you spend all your time and all your energy playing football or coaching or whatever you might do, and sometimes you just read the score in the newspaper and you stay on top of things that way. But there will always be something there in the heart that resonates and will be part of it. And yeah, somehow I want to build this. And a football club doesn't expect a lifetime commitment, but it's just how it works. And I want to accomplish that.
It's a good analogy. So, yeah, that takes a special kind of relationship between you and the leader you're looking for. So I can see how disappointed it was for you to lose the person you had in mind for this. But hopefully the universe opens another door here.
Yeah, definitely. I feel in a sense like I planned the future together with someone, and then they just turned me down. I was like, what the fuck, man? It was a plan here. I structured this. We were going to do this. We're going to live happily ever after. And you're just saying no at the altar. What the fuck?
So I think this would be a good time to describe more of what this role will include. And
sure.
So let's start short term. Let's say you hire this woman or man, and what will the first week look like at this job?
So right now, most of our future strategies are in my head. It haven't really been mapped out in a completely strategic way, and it hasn't been decided upon which thing to start on. So in that episode 4 that we mentioned before, I go over a bunch of different approaches that we will have, but I haven't really decided the timeline on where to start. So the first weeks on the job would probably be a lot of conversations with me and deciding upon which part of this strategies we want to start with. Then it will be about how to create this. So this person would start with recruitment and building this team and deciding upon what kind of roles do we want in this. How would we like the tech team to look like? What other people would we need? Where do we start? So the first part of the job will be a lot of strategic decisions, and the second will be start with actually making things happen. Deciding upon what coding platform, what tech solutions, all of these kind of things. So that will be the first weeks or months on the job would be those things. And then the longer term part of this will be making all the strategic decisions together with me on where to take these things. But then having the operational responsibilities of actually making everything happen. And basically being in charge of building the product and around these things. So it's going to be almost like being the founder of a startup. But it's a startup within something, in a sense.
Okay, cool. I have one question, but first I want to clarify. I see in our notes here that the episode where we describe the whole product of Great, it's episode number 3.
Oh,
yes.
Nice catch.
Nice catch.
You see, this is where you can give me some brutal and honest feedback and saying, hey, Eric, You suck. You just messed up.
I'm disgusted.
Thank you, my friend.
So, in that episode, we described 4 pillars of great, and they're all kind of different. We have one product that is on charity. We have one product that is casino. We have one product that is education. How can someone expect to have expertise in all of these different areas? Because it's almost like 4 different companies, right?
Yeah, it's gonna be 4 very different things, and I think that in the long run, we will have one person who is in charge of each one of these things. So this great leader that we're looking for right now will probably have one person that is in charge of the product side or the commercial side of things, that's reporting to this person. One person is in charge of the charity product, one person that is in charge of the organizational side of things, and one person that is in charge of the educational part. So in the future, I don't see one person being in charge of all of this, but that's where we start until these other 4 people is in place then. Yeah, did that answer your question?
It did, yeah.
Yeah.
So, do you have something more to add on the description of the role? Because I would like to explore why we haven't found this person yet. But do you have something more to add before I change direction?
Well, what basically I'm looking for here is 2 things. One of these things is that it needs to be someone who is passionate about tech and understands different code languages and these kind of things. Not necessarily a developer themselves, but as I mentioned before, the love child between Bill Gates and Elon Musk in a sense. And the main reason for that is that this is something that I'm completely lacking. I don't have this passion, I don't have this knowledge. Someone needs to bring this in and add this. So when we built Katina and I worked with my childhood friend Emil, he was complete techie and took part of that. But he's a family man now and wants to focus on being a father of 3 little kids and don't want to do this again. So that's why that part will be essential. The second part of this is that I want someone who is a great leader, who loves people, who is really good at recruitment and these kind of things, and preferably have worked with remote teams before, because that's new to me as well. That's something we're doing right now. We're building something remotely, and I believe that's the future of any organization. So whoever is passionate about that idea, or for that matter have done it before, is key in these kind of things, and know what challenges that has come with and these kind of things. And I believe that together we will be able to structure the casino product, for example. I don't expect someone to know anything about that because that knowledge we already have. Charity and these kind of things, we either had that knowledge ourselves or we know where to find it. Strategy, I'd love to do together, and that's one of my big passions, is the strategy side of things. I know that's one of your passions as well.
For sure.
So we will be able to add and build those things together. The first 2 I mentioned is something that I wouldn't say missing, but definitely would benefit a lot from that coming in from the side. Yeah, I don't want to go in too much to detail what this role entails, because I'd much rather find the person who wants to do this and in many ways create the role around that. I could create a list of tasks, like this is how it should be done, and then just check them off one by one. But I'd like this to be what this person loves to do. I want to find this person's way of doing this, how they love to do it, not me creating a box and then finding someone to fit into it. I want to find the perfect person who wants to create their own box or asymmetric symbol or whatever way they want to work in, and for them to, together with me, create the job of their dreams. I don't want to find the person that is perfect for great. I want to find a great person, and I want great to be the perfect one for that person.
Well said. And that's quite of a big difference. And you're willing to do that because you want someone to really enjoy this, so that they will want to stay on for a long time.
Yeah, I think that's the. I think that joy is the mother of creation. If you're enjoying yourself, if you're having fun, that's when creativity flourish. That's when we are eager and inspired to do things. We don't feel that we should do them for whatever reason. And that's the energy that I believe that A is the most valuable to work from, and B will get you the furthest. I think that if Steve Jobs didn't love technology, he would never have been able to build Apple. If Elon Musk didn't want to go to Mars, he wouldn't have been able to build SpaceX. I think that it comes from that energy to start with. There is a playful love for whatever it is that they're doing. And I want to be a part of creating something where that is the core of where we're going.
So we are here right now. We are obviously looking for this person. We have no leads so far. So why is that? Do you see any mistakes that we have made that is causing us to be without this kind of leader right now?
Yeah, so one big mistake was my naivety in this. I was just more or less sure that we will figure it out a way to work with this guy that we mentioned before. So for me, just not even looking for other options, that was a big mistake. I should have started planting seeds for this long time ago and started looking for this in a different way. So that's been a struggle. Another thing is how it's been communicated regarding casino and why we're doing casino. I feel that we have missed out on parts of why that is important. So one of the things that I've said is we want to make the biggest possible difference in the world. And one of the parts of that will be to donate the maximum amount of money. Then we would want a commercial product that is about casino, because that's the industry I'm coming from. That's what I know. That's where I believe I can be part of building something that can generate the most profits, so we can donate it and make the biggest difference. I'm not going to make any money from this. I'm not even taking a salary. So that's just my logic in this. If this was about me wanting to be a hero or anything else, it would be so much easier to just pick another industry. So that's one part of it. And another big part of this is that I really want to change the way the casino industry is operating. So I come from the casino industry. I've been part in creating a lot of misery for a lot of people by doing so. And I feel a responsibility for that. And I want to do something that is a lot better for this industry. And Great will do several things within this. For example, we will be on the inside being able to actually take the debate and about how can we take more responsibility as an industry. I've already been in newspapers in Sweden talking as a casino person about creating this responsibility and hopefully leading by example, or if not, at least provoking other CEOs and stuff in this industry that, okay, but we actually need to talk about this. We can't just pretend it's not there. We are a reason for gambling addiction and these kind of things. And I believe if I stay in this industry, I can communicate about these things and being part of changing this industry. If I'm going to another industry, I will not be able to have the same kind of impact on the casinos. I won't be able to take responsibility for whatever damage I've caused. Now I can do that. I can change this industry while being part of it.
But won't Great add to more gambling addiction by creating a casino product?
Yes and no. So we will create a casino product that will make people play casino. That one is true, and that means that we will touch people, touch people's life journeys in a way that might make them worse. That's true. At the same time, we will take money out from the industry. So we will be part of all the casinos and gambling companies' marketing budgets. That's how we will make money. And this, whatever profit we will make, instead of reinvesting this...
Could you explain that in a bit more detail so someone that might not know so much about the affiliation can understand this?
Yeah, okay. So our commercial product is going to be a... Let's make it very simple and say a TripAdvisor for casino.
Yeah.
So, and TripAdvisor makes money from hotels. They get paid from hotels, from their marketing budgets. We will do the same thing. So we will get paid from the marketing budgets of casino companies. That money would otherwise be spent in TV commercials and advertising somewhere else. Now they will pay us. And this will be our profits, and this will run our organization, and we will spend this money on doing charity and giving it away and all of these kind of things, instead of reinvesting it in more TV marketing or anything else that actually builds the industry. So I believe that we will take money out from the industry and giving it away, instead of creating more money that's actually just spinning around in this, which will be another way of shrinking the industry as a whole. For that matter, only a teeny tiny bit, but the money we take out will, I believe, will have a bigger impact on the number of people playing than the people that start playing when we're involved. There is no way of knowing this for sure. There isn't an exact math behind this, but these are the logic that I'm thinking about when I want to do this, and I want to take responsibility of being a part of changing an industry where I've played a major role before.
All right, so you're saying that a regular casino or casino affiliation company, they will make profits, and then they will use some of that profits for marketing, and that will create even more gambling addiction. And Great will compete with them, and the profits we make will be donated to charity instead, and therefore less money is getting reinvested in the industry as a whole.
Yes.
And this is something you feel that we have failed to communicate clearly.
Yes. So one of the reasons why this guy declined the job was that he didn't resonate with the logic of doing casino and charity. That was part of what his explanation was, and that ties me to questioning how well have I communicated this logic. And I think that this logic is very hard to communicate. I think it's a tricky thing to say here. I think it's tricky to follow this. It's math, it's numbers, it's uncharted territory in a sense. But I haven't really tried either. For me, it's so obvious. For me, I've really given this a lot of thought. I've really challenged this for myself. And I've questioned, is this the moral right thing to do? And I'm very committed to that the answer is yes. So I haven't understood how important it is to elaborate on this and explain this, because to me it's so obvious.
How important do you think that it is that this person have a philanthropic side to them, that they care about charity, for example?
I think that everyone has that. So I think it's important, and at the same time I think that that's something that everyone has. It might be a sleeping side of some people where it hasn't gotten the priority, but I think anyone who looks inside genuinely wants to help other people. I think that's to our human core. At least that's what I want to believe. So if they come from a philanthropic space and have knowledge about these things and done these things before and really value this, then that's super. If they haven't, I think that they are at core anyway. To really love what we're doing and really benefit from this, I think that it's key to see this as a big part of the role. And at the same time, I don't think that anyone, if there are people that wouldn't benefit or value that, I don't think they would be interested in this to start with. I don't think that what we're talking about would resonate with them. But I believe that everyone has this in their core.
I agree with that. And that makes me think about, so we're talking about donating 100% of the profits, but how are we thinking about salaries in this organization and for this leader?
So I have a long-term vision of creating an organization that sets their own salaries, but that's a bit of a side note, but it says a bit of where I want this to go in the future. As of now, we will, how I see it in my head is that we will have lower salaries than the commercial regular businesses. At the same time, we will have higher salaries than I believe pretty much any charity organization. So we will end up somewhere in between, and we are something in between. We're a commercial company that's giving away all the profits. We're not a regular charity. We're not going to take on donations, so we're not going to pay anyone's salaries with donations. We will make the money ourselves, or I will put the money on the table. So the salary is going to be lower than it would be if someone went all in on a commercial business. We're not going to pay the same salary that Apple would or any other tech company, well, any other big tech company out there. But we will definitely pay more than a regular charity job. So it's important that this person value the purpose and see these kind of things and wants to be a part of something that's going to change a lot of people's lives for the better.
Mm. Yeah, that makes sense. I think we've gotten most of the things we want to talk about so far. Do you have something that you feel we have missed or something you want to add?
Yeah, I'd like to touch on a few things on the experience of this person. So this is a very, very senior role. This is not something that anyone can just jump on. Preferably this is the role of someone who's either built a big company before, sold it, and now looking to do the same thing again, but with a lot more meaning and purpose to it. That's where I'm coming from. I built a big company, I put it on the stock exchange, and now I want to start over with a lot more meaning. That's the main reason why this is happening. Or it's someone who's been a part of building something big before, who has either been a CEO, CPO, these kind of person, and managed a team of tens of, if not hundreds of people before. So it's very important that this kind of seniority is in this role. It's not someone's first manager role. Preferably they have this tech experience that I mentioned. Preferably they have built remote teams before and done these kind of things. And they have this passion of building a product, and they have built products before. They know data, they know statistics, they know online marketing, Google Analytics, and all of these kind of tools and things to map up from there. They understand SEO, they understand email marketing, whatever it is. They've been a part of something like this before and can see all of these things and understand this strategy. This is a very senior role. I state that again. So it's basically like coming in. Sure, we're a small startup, but we're a startup where the first thing we did was buying a domain name for $900,000. So it's not that we're a regular small startup doing regular things. We have the ambition of building something very, very big, and this person is preferably going to be on that journey for decades and be part of something very, very big. So it's a very senior and very advanced role. So that's something I'd like to highlight once again, and I felt that I probably missed out earlier in this. Yeah.
Is there something more you want to add?
Yeah, I'll summarize this. You can also read about this role on great.com/careers and find this role in a more elaborate description. Well, maybe not more elaborate, but more detailed description in a more ordinary way of doing things, what it is that we're looking for.
Awesome.
So please, Emil, what have you learned from today?
Oh man, we've been talking about a lot of things. But I guess I have gotten, because I heard you talk about this before, but I have gotten a clearer understanding exactly of how advanced this role is and how much knowledge this kind of person needs to have. And I can also really see the benefit of placing the top piece of the pyramid before building the foundation. And how if a leader comes in first, how a team can be more customized to that person, and how that would allow the organization to unfold in a more harmonious way.
It's a really shitty analogy to say that you should start with building the top of the pyramid. Tell that to the Egypts, like, hey guys, you should start with the top piece.
But they could levitate stuff. Don't you know anything?
Of course they could. So we're a levitating organization.
Yes.
I like that.
Yes. What have you learned today?
Yeah, I think that this was great to start picturing this in my head and mapping this up in another direction. It challenged me why I really wanted this person for a role. What kind of qualities was it that I saw there that just made this feel obvious?
Yeah.
The importance of stating the seniority of this role, I think, is key, because I think it's easy to make it feel like it's something fairly junior that might put some very senior people off.
Because it's a small organization.
Yeah, because it's a small thing, because we're trying out things, because we're fucking around and playing in a podcast, which might seem unserious to a lot of people. And it is unserious in a lot of people, but it is unserious in a lot of ways. But it comes from our joy of creating. It comes from our joy of learning. It comes from the energy we want to build this. It has nothing to do with our end goal. Our end goal is immensely big. That's like part of this. And that's why we want to have fun creating this, because otherwise I don't think that we would go on for 50 years. So we need to continuously challenge, how do we enjoy this the most? How can we get that energy out of this and keep going for 50 years? I mean, all the companies more or less that are 50 years old, if they're getting big at some point, because otherwise they would just not do it.
I agree.
Yeah,
I also see the importance of this role, how key that is for Great right now. So what is just to wrap this up, what is your plan then to find this role? And then we wrap this up.
So one of the most underrated marketing strategies there are out there, I believe, is podcasting. Not necessarily maybe having your own podcast, but being guest on podcasts, because there will be such a reach. There are tons of podcasts out there with hundreds of thousands of listeners. Being able to communicate with a listener for an hour about whatever the topic is, I think builds a connection, builds a relationship, builds something that you can't do in text. At least it's very, very hard to do it in text. So my plan for the next quarter is to visit a lot of podcasts, to be guest there and talk about our journey, what we want to do, talk about all kinds of other things that we've been talking about in other episodes of this, and share this role and see, does whatever we do resonate with you? Please check this out. And I think that's a way superior method of doing this than it would be to reach a regular headhunting organization to try and find someone that way. I believe that we could find people who are passionate about what we're doing by listening to us talking, rather than trying to just knock on people's shoulders and say, hey, look at this, hey, look at this, get this job. Because really good people, they are being chased by headhunters anyway. So why be one of those people just chasing them in the same way as everyone else do?
Especially when this organization is so purpose-driven.
Yeah.
So let's say someone thinks, I might be the right person for this job. How can they reach out? How can they apply? What should their first step be?
So the first thing I would do is listening to more of our stuff, reading about what we're doing. I think that it's an easy way to see, is this something you want to do? Because we're very weird and different in many ways. I believe that either you love our purpose and what we're doing, or you simply don't. So I would start there rather than applying for something the first thing I did. And then reach out to me at eric@great.com, and we can have a chat, or we'll see, and we take it from there. So I think that's the easiest step moving forward. And obviously visiting great.com/careers and reading about this to see if this makes sense.
Is it eric@great.com?
Yeah, I'm the only one who have eric@great.com. I have eric.bergman@great.com. But I'm the only one who will have just my name. And the reason for that is that...
You're assuming you're better than all other Erics.
Yes, that's the thing. That's a long side story, but yeah, I have Eric at great.com, but it's just redirecting to eric.bergman at great.com.
Got it.
It's just easier to say Eric at great.com in podcast. I actually have it with both ERIK at great.com and ERIC at great.com because people want to spell my name with a C.
Awesome. All right. How do you plan to wish all of our listeners a good week? This is a Monday for
don't
us.
Start your day. I'll give a piece of advice. Don't start it by throwing up. It doesn't feel good. So do something else than throwing up the first thing you do. And other than that, I would say ask 2 people a good day. That's something that I've been doing most mornings lately. I just wish one person from my current life, someone who's around me, just thinking about them, see them smile and ask them a good day. And one person from a long time ago. And I'm just seeing those people in front of me and asking them for a good day. So today, this morning, I did it for an old school friend that I haven't met in I don't know how many years, called Eleanor. I just thought of her and said, hey, I really hope that she has a good day. And I asked, who was it more? It was someone from my everyday life today as well, but now it slipped my mind. It was a couple of hours ago.
Awesome.
I think it's a good way of doing it.
Be nice, don't throw up. Solid advice. All right. Nice speaking to you, Eric.
See you next time. Have a lovely day, my friend. Cheerio, old chap.